Cisco Extended Detection and Response, Private Network Monitoring Sensor, Security, Fail2Ban for SSH access. So what are we doing here? What is Fail2Ban? So it's a service that you can install on your PNM sensor or actually on any Linux server um, that will count the number of failures during a set period of time. So like if somebody tries to SSH into your device, 3 times within 5 minutes and fails the authentication 3 times, it will block any further attempts from that source IP address for a set period of time. And I think by default, Fail2Ban sets it for 10 minutes, but you can change it to an hour, 24 hours, whatever is appropriate for your particular environment. Alright, let's get started. So the first thing we do before we do any type of installation is do an update. So sudo apt-get update. And let's go ahead and install Fail2Ban now with a simple command, sudo apt-get install Fail2Ban. Alright, once we're installed, we're going to go ahead and make a copy of what we call the jail.conf file. So it's kind of recommended before we do anything else, because any updates we're going to make that we want to customize the configuration, we're going to want to do it in the etc/fail2ban/jail.local file that we're creating here. Well, let's go make sure we spelt everything right. Etsy fail2ban jail.conf to jail.local. It's also heard that if you edit directly into the jail.conf file, sometimes updates to Fail2Ban will actually fail on you. So any updates we're going to make in the jail.local. So let's jump over there real quick, /etsy/fail2ban. Give us an ls. We can see we got a jail.local. Now, let's also check if the system is even running. So we're going to go sudo systemctl status fail2ban. You can see it's up and running by default. Just to make sure that it's going to always be up and running like during a reboot, let's go ahead and run through the enable feed. Systemctl enable Fail2Ban. So that'll make sure that from now on, anytime we reboot it, Fail2Ban will start by default. Okay, so let's learn a little bit about the configuration of Fail2Ban. Right now I'm in the etsy/Fail2Ban subdirectory. Remember, we do all of our edits in jail.local, so let's go and take a look at that real quick. So we're going to go into sudo. Why is sudo not typing? Sudo vim jail.local. And in here, this is the configuration file before it. We're going to scroll down to the defaults section real quick and talk a little bit about some of the key settings in here. So the ones that we want to really pay attention to is find time, ban time, and max retry. So the max retry is going to be, and it's set to 5 by default, but that's, for instance, is how many times somebody can try to SSH into our PNM sensor in a period of 10 minutes. So 5 attempts, max retry, within a 10-minute period will get them banned for 10 minutes. That's basically these 3 settings. These are the important ones here. And this is going to apply to all of the applications that Fail2Ban can work with, because there's some other ones. We might even take a look real quick down at the bottom. But for the defaults, the default section applies to every application that Fail2Ban can work with. Now we can also go down into the /sshd section and just add configurations specific to SSHD itself. But in this particular case, I'm just going to change it for everybody to make it a little bit easier here. So let's go ahead and exit that out, and I'm going to make it to 2 so that it's something we can test real quick here. Obviously, you're going to make it to whatever you think is prudent for your particular environment. 3 or 5 seems reasonable to me. But I'm also going to change the ban time here. I'm going to change it to something like 60 minutes. So I'm going to say you're going to be banned for an hour, if you try 2 times, and let's do this in the last 5 minutes. Yep, that sounds a little better to me. So you mess up your SSH connection 2 times within 5 minutes, it will ban us for an hour, basically. Now, I told you about the other section. Let's go look at that real quick. So, let's go run down there, and there it is, section under SSHD, and you can see these are configurations that would apply specifically to SSHD. And you can see under here we have a whole bunch of different sections available to us. You saw one called Drop Bear. There's also one called Apache. So, you can use this for Apache as well, but we're kind of done here. We're just worried about SSHD. So let's write this. And after we do an update, we obviously have to restart Fail2Ban. So sudo systemctl restart Fail2Ban to make sure that we're using our new configuration settings. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to do some testing. Okay, so let's do a little testing here. First things first is we're going to get ourselves blocked, but where are all these blocked IP addresses actually kept? Well, they're actually kept in a little database. So where is that database? It's in var lib fail2ban. Let's give an ls, and you can see they're kept right there, but it's kind of hard to go in there and look to see what IP addresses have been banned. But there is a command that makes it a little bit easier for us, the Fail2Ban client. So let's take a look at that. Sudo Fail2Ban-client status for the specific daemon we're dealing with, SSHD, and there it is. You can see down there banned IP addresses. I don't currently have any banned IP addresses listed in this particular database. But we set it for 2 attempts, 2 SSH attempts before we get blocked. So let's give that a try. Now, what's my IP address? Let's go in here and take a look real quick. Go IP config, scroll all the way to the top. I'm at 192.168.10.103. So that's what we're going to be connecting from. So when something goes bad, we should be seeing it over here. And what's the IP address of this little guy? Let's take a look real quick. IP config. Oh, excuse me. IP adder. 192.168.10.249. So let's go ahead and make a connection. SSH PNM admin. I'm going to go ahead and do the right user ID at 192.168.10.249. And I'm going to put in a bad password. And it's going to time out and fail. And it's going to ask me again. And watch it, it's going to fail again. And this is what's kind of interesting. Sometimes you think when you do this, it's just going to ask you the 2 times. And there it goes. It's failed out. So let's bounce back over here. And let's hit the up arrow for that Fail2Ban client and see what it says about us. Hey, look at that. It's banned me at 192.168.10.103. So I can no longer make any connections. Okay, so what if we accidentally banned ourselves by fat fingering our user ID or IP address, and we need to immediately unban ourselves, so we have to jump over to the console or something like that to do that. You can see I'm still listed over here. I banned my IP address 192.168.10.103. I'll prove that. SSH PNM admin at 192.168.10.249. I still can't get into it. It's still going to time out on me. It's still Fail2Ban is still blocking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unban myself over here with the same basic Fail2Ban client. So sudo Fail2Ban-client set SSHT unban IP 192.168.10.103, and you can see it timed out over there, so I'm going to unban myself. I'm going to verify that I unban myself. No IP listed, so then I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to try and connect in again, and it's now I'm getting the password prompt. Let's actually put it in correctly this time. Hey, I'm in. And I'm logged in as PNM admin. So we've banned ourselves, we've unbanned ourselves, and it's basic, and we've gone through the configurations too. So 2 is probably a little bit too few connection attempts for a real environment, you know, you might want to consider 325. So that's how easy it is to work with Fail2Ban, how to get it installed, how to make sure it's running even on reboots, how to use basic updates to configure it in the config.local like we talked about. Don't configure in the jail.config file. You want to make sure you do it in the jail.local file. Do all your updates there. Some other key information that you may want to take a screenshot of this to keep track of. Now, where do I use Fail2Ban? I actually use it on every single one of my Linux servers, even those that are on the inside that are protected by access control lists, even those that are protected by jump servers and everything else. Nobody should have an infinite amount of user ID and password attempts into any of my Linux servers. So even if it's on the inside, and I hope you actually don't have your PNM sensor available to the general internet. If you do, we need to be having a completely different conversation right now. But in this particular case, like I said, any Linux server whatsoever, I always install Fail2Ban.